So now you can see, lovely built-in shape. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for being here. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a dry layering technique on this mannequin here. I've already pre-sectioned it out. We're working with quite a standard sectioning pattern. The only thing you might find different is the diamond on top, but we've worked from center to the back of the nape, which is just a straight through section. And then as if we were coming from just behind the ear straight across to work into quadrants. We've then got a diamond on top, which I'll show you right now. So the diamond section you can see here, it just works around the curvature of the head on the flat points, on the flat planes of the head. So if you were to get your hand and put it on your head, you would find that there's flat points all over your head. And that is how we have worked out where to put that diamond sections on top of the head. So we're going to work with a dry layering technique on the underneath. We're then going to blow dry this and get it ready to connect the layers visually. So let's get straight into the haircut. So we're going to start with the first section is this front quadrant here. I've taken out the clips already, and how we're going to work is we're just going to work straight down, but working like that until we get to that front. So a pivoting motion around the front. So we're going to work with a little bit of a different technique as well that you might have seen, and it's just a squeezing technique. So basically we want to be looking at where we want to have some internal shortness so it gives a bit of plumpness, but what we want this shape to be is we want it to be coming out and then smoothing through there. So that's how we're going to create this look today. So we're just going to bring straight up to the ceiling and we're going to look to see where we want our first cut. So if we look at where this length is here, we still want to keep some length. So if we work there, and then all I'm doing is squeezing the butt of my scissor like that, just to start to remove some internal length, like so. Now we move on to our next section. And again, just pivoting around the head. And I want to bring it straight up and I want to see where that last section is, which I can see from picking up my previous guide. And then we just squeeze the butt of our blade into there to be taking that length off. So body position, I'm moving around, but I just need to stay to the side of the section to be able to see the previous guide. So picking up there, I can see my guide just there. So I'm just going to squeeze those scissors together like that. And we're just starting to put some internal shortness into this mannequin. So I'm just going to spin it around there so you can see where I am. Next section. Now this is a really quick way to be able to add some layer, add some definition to your client's hair. Now I'm just looking to see again, and I can see just there. And again, we're just going to softly squeeze the butt of our blade into there. And then last section wants to be pretty much, I'll bring this mannequin here so you can see, pretty much parallel to that section that we've got running through there. So I'm just going to use the finer teeth of my comb. I can see with my guide where I want to be. And then just taking that off through there. So now we can already see some shape working into this mannequin. Now we're going to work on this back section here. And I'm just going to work all the way around the head. So I want to take a little bit of the previous section. I'm just going to clip out that section there. So we know we're not going to touch that anymore. And then again, we're just going to bring it straight up. I can see my guide just there. And it's as if you're just letting the hair fall into the blades of your scissors. Again, we want to pick up previous so we can see a bit of our guide just there. And what I love about this technique is when I talk to clients about when we cut hair and we're looking at putting layers into hair, a lot of clients don't actually want layers on the exterior. They would prefer something on the interior of their hair to create a bit more volume, a bit more bounce. And traditionally, where we work layering is we would work here, working in our layers. Whereas working like this, and again with the other scissors that I use, the texturizers, how I put scaffolding into hair, that's just another way to be able to create texture in hair, but maintaining the length. So again, we're pivoting. So I'm just going to move the mannequin so you can see how I pivot. We're just basically from that middle pivoting around this mannequin. It's exactly how you would do it with your clients. So we're going to look for that guide. And the beautiful thing about this is we can really make sure we're keeping the density on the perimeter or on the exterior. Next section. I'll twist that mannequin again so you can see where we are. So I can see the guide. And then once we've done this and we've done the top section, we will then be able to put our length in. Now we're on middle back now. So her face should be pointing directly that way, or your body position would be. And again, you can just see there. And it's like we're just tickling these layers in, but the finished result is absolutely stunning. So again, that last section, I want to keep that and I want to bring it into this back section here. So I'm just going to take these clips out of this back section and use it to clip this out of the way. And I've got another one here just to clip that out of the way. So I've taken a piece of that section from this here. That's going to be our guide. We're then just bringing straight up to the ceiling, and I can see there. And then now that becomes my guide, so I can forget about that. You can clip that into there if you want to, or just keep your sections just nice and tight. And you'll see here how my body position just comes around here rather than moving the mannequin head. I just need to pick up a little bit more of that previous section so I can see my guide. If that's something that you struggle with seeing your guide, just pick up a bit more of your previous section. There we go. So you can see where your guide is. And again, let's just spin that around there. Straight up to the ceiling. You can see that the guide just sort of pops out when you start to section. Previous guide, next section. Straight up to the ceiling. Then we just work that through there. So I hope you think this, like I do, a really quick way to put in some shape and some layers into hair. Right, she's facing directly at me now. So that means I'm 90 degrees here and here. So I'm directly on that section through there. And there's the guide just there. And again, I'm not closing my blade. I'm literally just tickling like that. Now we're on this last section at the front here before we get to our top section. So again, we're just going to pull a piece out from there. I need a clip just to make sure we clip that section out of the way. So I've just taken a piece from that back section here. We're going to lift this up just there. Remember, if you can't see your guide, take a little bit more. But the more you do this, the more you get really in tune with where you're sort of lifting the hair up and where you're meeting the hair. So it does become easier if this is something that's new to you. Again, straight up. We find the guide. Let me take that off. Let's spin it to there now. Previous section, new section, straight up. I can see that guide already, just there. And then previous section, and last section, which is directly on that section right there in the middle. So let's bring it up. We see that guide just pop out just there. There we go. And that is the underneath all done. So let's take out the clips that are keeping it separated. And what we want to do now, so before we get into working into this top section, what I just want to do, I just want to look at the length and then just take off what we need. I think there's still a clip in there. There is one of these. And if you like the colour, this is 6 CCR in the Demi Liquids Joico. I literally put it onto the roots and worked it probably like a quarter of the head down, and then just combed it through with a big wide brush, and just let it sort of melt onto the hair. 20 minutes development. How nice is that? So what we want to do now, I'm just going to lift her right up, get her head out of shot, but so I'm just eye level. And we don't want too much translucency with the ends, but to be honest, I do actually really like the floatiness of it because of what the shape we're putting in here. So, and the client has specified she doesn't want it too short, so we're just going to pull it down here, and that's also why we leave this until we've done the layering, because we're not working with that much hair, because we've already taken away a lot of the density on the ends because we've been layering. It's a really quick way of putting in a one length haircut. And we're going to work square today, just to keep this shape nice and strong through the front. And just here, there's hardly anything to come off, but just puts in a better line there than what you can see this piece just here. So again, and there we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to tong this underneath just so you can see how it starts to shape and manipulate and gives you a really good idea. Let's pop her down first, shall we? There we go. So I put the length in, and now I'm just going to tong this underneath to give it a little bit of shape so I can see it really come to life. And then we're going to start with the top section. So as we're just working through the rest of this underneath section, we're just alternating. You see that was taken towards the face. Now this is going to be taken away from the face. And it's just to create that lived-in texture into the hair. And it's just a great way to sort of freshen up a look. And one top tip is pull out the curl while it's cooling down, and you get a much sexier wave. So now we just want to be pulling through, just opening up some of that texture and that curl, just to make that a little bit more lived in. One of the best combs I've got for this is my Simply Hair comb. Again, guys, everything down below. You can check the link in the description, and I'll link everything that I'm using. But we're just going to comb through and just see how beautiful that shape is now. And you've got that beautiful how it comes in and then out and then in again. And then a really nice shape around the face that we can customize in a bit once we get to the refining process. But there's that now. So now we've just taken this top section out. It's a little bit damp, so we're going to blow dry this, and then we're going to finish the haircut off, and we can have a look at the finished result. So let's just lift it up a little bit so you can see how she's looking. But we just want to be blending in that top just visually at the minute, just so we get to see where we're heading towards. And then now we want to be adding some shorter layers through this top. So I'm gonna grab my scissors and comb. And again, guys, I'm using Wings 5.5. You can catch it below in the description. So we're going to work around the high point of that head. We're going to just pivot around working. So I'll start here. And what we want to be looking for, we could potentially pick up a piece underneath, which is just there, just dropped out. So we want to be taking our desired length through here and then cutting up, but we don't want to meet the underneath. We want there to be a bit of disconnection in there. So we've got scaffolding to hold the hair, add the movement and the shape. So I'll just start this side because then I can keep my body position where I was so you guys can see a bit better. But there we go. Just there where my thumb is. There's the underneath. And we want to at your desired length. Again, we want to be just squeezing. So I'm just going to squeeze up through there. You see, we're keeping some of that length because it adds just that little bit of bounce and volume to it. So we started there. So now I'm going to pivot around and I'm just going to steal a little bit of the previous section so I know whereabouts I took it from. So let me just spin the head there. So we're pivoting. And I can see that piece now at my fingers just there. So I want to just tickle that off through there. And we can now see all those layers and shape coming to life. So we're now here, pivot around there slightly. So I'm going to steal a bit of that again, and it's going to go into my next section. Just going to flip to my smaller teeth on my comb, just so I've got a bit more control. There we go there. And we're just tickling off that through there. Now we're directly center back. So her face wants to be facing the window. We've got a guide. Let's just steal a little bit and then pivot again. Stealing a little bit the guide. Our new section. There's the guide. And then we're just, again, squeezing our butt of our blade like that. So we're not cutting. We are customizing this layer with a really nice and let me know, do you think a simple technique? Could you see yourself doing this? Got our guide. We're pulling up. And then I'm going to take a bit again. Here's my next section. I'm just going to pivot again so you just move the head so you can see how we're moving. Basically, I'm staying still. The head is what's moving. But if you were working on your client, obviously, you would be moving around the head. Unless you spin them around on the chair, which I'd like to see. Through there. And we are nearly back in the middle. We've got one more section to go. So I'm just going to move around and pivot my body on this one. Just because we've got two more sections to go. Here we go. And then Her nose is right there. We are back on that last section on this side. There's our guide just here. And there we go. So that's that haircut completely finished. What I'm going to do now is just going to style it out and bring you the finished result. So now you can see, lovely built-in shape all in through there. Let me know what you think, guys, in the comments down below. What do you think? Is this, do you want to see more of this on my channel, or what do you prefer to see? But that isn't really that difficult. Just understanding, again, I like to bring you this sort of stuff that helps you understand haircutting just that little bit more, and colour. What do you think to the colour? This is my new ASAP colour melt, and it literally took me no time at all to create this. This was on a normal level 8 mannequin, which is like a bit of a bit warm, a bit dirty sort of blonde. I wanted to obviously bring a colour for this cut today, and this is from my ASAP colour technique. This is my ASAP colour melt. But yeah, there we go. What do you think to that? Beautiful and shiny. And this is the brush I was talking about, my Kent. What is the number on this? KS04 if you want to pick it up. But it's just really nice for dressing out and just smoothing those flyaways over. We get a little bit of hairspray on there if we wanted, but there we go, guys. I hope that has inspired some of you into trying this haircut out, taking it to your hairdresser. And yeah, if you've loved it, if you're new, please hit the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about it. Don't forget to give the thumbs up, because the thumbs up send this miles. And until next time, I'll see you on the next video.